I hate introductions, don't you? But it seems like they're always necessary. So here goes. I'm Ashley. I'm a wife, mom, pastor, and missionary's kid, which is double trouble if you didn't know. And if you're in this space, we're here to learn about who God is, who we are in Him, and how to do faith in the real, meaning the real messy. Hi, welcome back to another Chat with Ash. Oh, wow, I just feel like I'm on a roller coaster right now. It's that time of year where things are starting to fill up. Are your calendars filling up like mine? I mean, it's like riding the roller coaster up the hill. And you can hear that click, 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 click. And you know what's coming. You know you're about to just hold on for dear life and hope everything ends up okay. And I really want to handle this year differently than I have in the past. So in the past, I'll just say pre-COVID, the one word that I can think of to describe my state of being is overwhelmed. If you had asked how I was, and if I had said something more than fine, I would have had to say overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. I mean, that just sums up my life pre-COVID. And a lot of that was my fault because I wanted to make sure that, our kids had all the opportunities that they could. I wanted to make sure that I was serving in all the areas that I could at our local church, that I was, trying to be a good friend, trying to be a great wife, trying to be a wonderful mom, trying to do all the things for everyone. And then COVID happened, and it was this gift of suddenly being free from expectation, from responsibilities, from a full calendar. And now life seems to be trying to get back to normal, whatever that is. And I'm looking at our calendar and I'm going, okay, what do I want to do differently? Because it's not enough for me to go through a year like 2020 and say, well, that was beneficial because of this, and then go and revert right back to the way it was before. I want to do a few things differently. And if you go to my website, ashleyivister.com, you can subscribe and I will send you a monthly newsletter. And if you've been receiving my newsletters this past year, you may have noticed a few themes and some questions being thrown out that I'm asking myself and sharing with you. And some of those are, is this mine to carry? The question of my why, what is my why? And most recently, the question of, is this supportive? And I'll explain more about that in a minute, but I want to paint for you a picture of how I have always tended to handle life. There are two groups of people in the world. There are those of you that are sensible and practical. And so when you come back from the grocery store and you pull into your driveway, you go to your trunk where all of the bags are, and you start making multiple trips. This is a novel idea. You make more than one trip from your trunk to your house. Then there are the other group of people, and you know who you are. I am right there with you. We are the group that says, we got a different kind of practical for you. It's called, I'm making one trip, and I can do that very well. I can have 50 plus bags. I'm not even kidding you. I can have bags on both arms from the top of my hand to my shoulder, hanging off my ears if I have to, but I'm going to do it all in one trip. And it's so ridiculous that it's comical, but it's like a mission. How many bags can I get on my being and make it in one trip? That kind of sums up how I tend to approach life. It's like, oh yeah, I can pick up that bag too. I can carry that bag as well. And I start piling on all of this stuff instead of being wise and saying, I don't need to carry this one right now, and that one can wait for another time. And I'm looking now at my past decisions and recognizing that I need to make some changes. It's time to grow up a little bit. It's time to realize that I can make more than one trip, and it's totally okay. So, the boys and their schedule and our family schedule and my personal schedule has been drastically wiped compared to what it was before. And part of that is this question that my friend Katie, if you've been watching, you know who Katie is. Katie asked the question one day of, is this supportive? And I was really taken aback by that because, well, my first thought was, what do you mean? She said, when you look in the mirror, do you ever ask yourself, is this activity, this decision, whatever, this attitude, whatever, is it supportive of my spiritual walk? Is it supportive of my time? Is it supportive of our family structure? Is it supportive of my mental well-being, of my emotional well-being? All of those questions. And if it's not, do you need to be carrying that? That's a really loaded question when you start to think about it. And I think so many times in the past, I've been unwilling to really think about that, and I've just plowed forward foolishly, thinking I don't care what it costs, but I have got this. The biggest problem with that sentence is the very first thing that you hear, I. For me, so much of what I've tried to carry has been rooted in this pride of, I've got this. I can do this. I can carry all this. I've got it. And I haven't, first of all, been going before God and just saying, is this something that you want me to be doing? Is this the time that you want me to be doing this? Is this actually for somebody else to be carrying? And, just seeking out Him before anything else. So I guess that's been the first big thing that I'm having to learn. It's not past tense, it's totally current. I'm having to take all that before God and just say, help me see what I'm supposed to be doing. Help me see what you want. And then the harder thing for me is recognizing that I'm going to need to trust Him with wherever He's leading. And doing that means that not only am I better off, but my family's better off and my friends are better off. So let me give you a story to kind of share what I'm picturing as I tell you this. I have a really good friend that I haven't seen in several years. And over the summer, we had an opportunity to meet. We were discussing our agenda and what we wanted to do together. And I said, I know something I would love to do with you. I would love to go horseback riding. Eric has absolutely zero desire to get on the back of the horse, but I have this dream of doing that. I am completely blaming my upbringing for this. I grew up in Oklahoma, so I grew up, in the middle of culture with strong Native American roots and learning about the pioneers and, of course, horses being a part of both of those people groups, and they're normal, and reading Little House on the Prairie and watching the shows. And I was just convinced I was going to marry a cowboy, and I just had to ride a horse someday. I think that I have actually only ever, prior to this visit, sat on the back of a pony. And I'm pretty sure it was led by an adult in a circle. It was nothing. So the day came for my friend and I to go horseback riding together, and it was going to be in a group of people, and we would be following a guide on a trail. So we arrived at the destination to go horseback riding, and my friend and I had been busy that morning trying to catch up and share everything. So we weren't late, but it was time to be there. And we went to pay, and the guy working behind the counter, he's threw some paper at us and said, I need you to fill this out. And while you're filling this out, I'm going to be telling you all of the things that you need to know. I was really trying to focus because I'm inexperienced in this area. I honestly have no idea what he said, except don't turn around and touch the horse's rear. Don't worry, I won't. I'm going to be holding on to the reins. They had a nice deck built so that we wouldn't have to try to get up on the horse from ground level. So I walked over to the deck, and they brought this horse over for me to get on. It was brown and beautiful and very gentle. I was thankful. I didn't really feel scared, but I was just very aware that this horse is large and I really don't know what I'm doing. So I just wanted to be, I wanted to have a good fear in this situation. But I knew that this horse was doing what it did every day, and that this horse would know the trail, and this horse didn't need me to guide it on the path. I just needed to sit on the horse and enjoy the ride and trust that it was going to know where it was going and that its footing would be sure. But it wasn't very long before I was doubtful. Our trail had elevation to it. And so to my right was a mountainside, and to my left was a drop off. The trail was wide, but guess where the horse wanted to walk? It wanted to walk along the edge. So I'm sitting on the back of this horse and I'm, looking at everything and trying to just enjoy the beauty that was surrounding me. And then I looked down to my left and I couldn't see the trail. All I could see was the drop, and it was a long way down. And immediately, I'm like, I am not comfortable with this. So I took the reins and redirected the horse because I thought I would rather be scraped into the side of the mountain and lose a few pounds than be on the edge of this trail and fall to my death. And the horse and I battled it out for a while. And I finally just realized, okay, the horse doesn't want to fall down the side of the mountain any more than I do. The horse knows the trail. The horse has enough sense to be safe, right? I just need to trust the horse. The whole experience really makes me think about life. We go through life and we think we know the best side of the trail to be on. There are times when we say, I would rather be experiencing pain, like being scraped to the side of the mountain, than to risk being on the edge over there. But sometimes we have to weigh out the reality. And the reality is, A, God's got it. We're not in control. We're not asked to be in control. And B, we can trust him wherever he places us on the trail. But the question of, is this supportive? So with the horse story, is it beneficial for me to be fighting this animal, trying to get it to the other side when it obviously wants to be on the left side? No, it's not. So I need to just stop fighting it and I need to trust the horse and enjoy the ride. So as I'm going about my real life and I'm looking at our school schedules and I'm looking at opportunities to serve at church and I'm looking at how can I be a better friend and how can I best serve my family and how can we build good memories and all of these different things that don't just weigh on me, but I suspect weigh on you too. Asking myself, is this supportive? And if it's not, then refusing to pick it up. That one is so hard for me because again, I want to carry all the bags. I've got this. And I have to realize that no, I don't have it. So the first step for me in answering this question and answering it honestly is being okay with acknowledging that something might not be supportive and that some things might need to change. So, for example, I've had some service opportunities and I've had to sit there and say, okay, is this supportive? I mean, I want to be others focused, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, am I truly able to give my best to others when I'm so depleted and overwhelmed? I don't really think so. And I mentioned this earlier in the episode, but this has just been such a game changer that I want to make sure I mention it again. God calls us to love him and to serve him and to serve others, but not you're not meant to be everything for everyone. And you are not meant to do all the things. He doesn't call you to do everything. And so it's okay and it's good to say no sometimes and to put some things down. And I need to be reminded of that right now in this season of prepping for the end of this year and the coming year. It's been really helpful for me to do that, and I wonder if it might help some of you too. So ask yourself, as you're looking at your schedule, as you're planning out the days, and take it before the Lord and just say, Lord, my time is yours. He's given it to us, and he's given it to us with purpose, and I want to live with purpose. But being that person that lives with purpose and with intent doesn't mean that I'm the busiest person. I think sometimes in our society, we confuse being purposeful and intentional with our life with being busy. Being busy doesn't necessarily mean that you're being purposeful or intentional or that you're making the best use of the time. Sometimes being purposeful and intentional means I am setting up boundaries, I am setting some things down, I'm wiping some things off of the calendar instead of adding to it. I am recognizing at my church, for example, there are some areas in which I know God is calling me to serve right now. And there are some other areas I'm like, oh, I see the need, I should do it. But then going before the Lord, it's like, no, there are others. And sometimes I wonder if some of us are so quick to always try to fill the voids and the needs at church or in our homes or in other relationships or at work or wherever, that we're not actually leaving that need alone and drawing other people to step up. Does that make any sense? Like maybe sometimes that need needs to be left there because maybe somebody else needs to be pushed to follow in obedience because maybe that spot is theirs and not yours. I don't know. These are all questions and things that I'm thinking about, things that I'm looking at, but my hope in all of this is that the end of this year and that 2022 will look different, not just for me, but for our family, for my marriage, for my relationships with other people, and that I will grow in the confidence of being able to trust God, whether he puts me on the right side of the trail or the side of the trail where I can't see the trail anymore. I want to trust him. I want to make the best use of my time. And I want to be very intentional in being able to answer the question of, is this thing, whatever it is, supportive? Is it supportive of my walk with God? Is it supportive of my marriage? Is it supportive of our family? Is it supportive of this relationship? Is it supportive of this calling that God has placed me in for this season? And if it's not, being confident enough, not in myself, but in God, to trust him enough to say, okay, I'm leaving that one there. And I'm going to focus on the next step that you have for me, and finding that contentedness in that process, and realizing that I don't need to carry all the bags because they're not all mine to carry. And there is one who is greater than I am, and he has the driver's seat. I get to ride along and enjoy the view, and so do you. So I hope that these thoughts have maybe just sparked something for you. As you look at your calendars, I would just challenge you to ask yourself the same question that I am. And if it's not supportive, to just have the courage and to have the trust in the Lord that it's okay to put it down. And I hope that you have a wonderful fall, enjoying the view, even if it means that you're looking down the edge of a cliff. I'll see you next time.